Is your law firm accepting mediocre work? Think about it. You have money in the bank, the calendar's full, clients are happy, your team members are not delegating back up to you, and by and large, happy. And maybe this is the energy and essence of your law firm. But when I get in and I dive in and start working with law firms, and I'm a geek about metrics. I love to manipulate data and tear it apart in every way, shape, or form, from lead generation to lead conversion to closing the file. And so often I will hear from people when I ask questions, they're like, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We are making goal, we're above goal, what have you. And sometimes when we get off of the struggle bus, get off of the panic and anxiety financial roller coaster, we get lazy. We get sloppy. We're like, it's good enough. We're making money. What else do you want from us, Molly? And I hear this so often when I start asking the business questions, the questions that are going to help you to stay on a path of continued controlled growth, scalable, eventually sellable practice. People tend to shut down and get overwhelmed by them because they've been accepting mediocre. Now, these aren't terms that they would say. They're like, our firm's doing pretty good. Well, if you're saying statements like that, that's the definition of mediocre. We're doing good. If you're versus, we are on a path, and it's not always about the numbers. But if you're getting comfortable and you're using terminology like we're doing good, we're off of the struggle bus, we're out of panic and anxiety and white knuckling clients and cash flow and conversions, and we made it out of the woods. That is just as dangerous as sitting in a place of fight, flight, and freeze. So, are you accepting mediocre? Unconsciously, possibly. But as you walk into 2024 and your employees want raises, they want reviews, they want bonuses, you would gladly give them to them. But if you're making statements like, we can do that when the money is there, then you're accepting mediocre. Now, don't worry about it. I have the path and plan to get out of there. But if you are not already set up to give your employees bonuses, raises, incentive comps, and you have no doubt that they're going to exceed goal, and you're going to gladly be writing checks to them each month, each quarter, at the end of the year. If you're not in that place, reach out and let's craft that path and plan so you can get out of good enough and get to a place that is called scalable and sellable law firm practice, where everyone wins, the employees, the clients, and you as a profitable business owner.
Welcome to another episode of the Office Altering Hire and Empower with Molly McGrath podcast. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. If you're a first-time listener, hopefully you'll become a long-time listener. As always, I'm your show host, Molly McGrath, founder of Hiring and Empowering Solutions and creator of this revolutionary podcast. You can check us out at hiringandempowering.com.
So what does this look like? Let me give you an example. I have a law firm, and oh my goodness, I have many law firms like this, but one of my very favorite law firms, they are so chill. I'm like, you guys are a criminal defense law firm. I've never seen such a chill group of people. Honest to God, the attorney gets on there and just like, hi, no stress whatsoever. And they have a sales force, outsourced sales force. They have intake coordinators. They have an office manager. They're set up with great paralegals, legal assistant. The team's solid. Everybody gets it, everybody wants it, and everybody has the capacity for it, as they say in GWC. So the team is solid. The culture is fantastic. But, and yes, I'm going to throw a but in there, everybody's too nice to each other. And they are accepting, like, yeah, we're doing pretty good. Yeah, there's no stress and there's no worry. I got my little handy dandy spreadsheet that I use that I got from the last conference that I go to, and this is what they told me to use. This is what they told me to that works. And then when I come in with the hard questions, the deeply curious questions about, whoa, time out. Like, is nobody concerned that the leads went down? Well, no, that was intentional. The attorney put a pause on marketing. Okay, why? Well, because we were getting too many leads and didn't want to overwhelm intake. I'm like, whoa, time out. Okay, now let's look at this. Is nobody concerned with the show up rate right now, but your definition of people showing up for appointments, it's not real. Because your salespeople are having to call people. They're not showing up in the Zoom room. And they're calling it a show rate because they call the prospective client and say, hey, why are you in your appointment? And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about it, but I'm free now. And this guy's sitting on the toilet or in the grocery store having his consultation with you. How committed is it? And why are we calling this a show rate when they did not show up? You chased them. So really not all definitions are equal. And so they were comfortable, and I started asking the questions, and of course, the sales team was furious with me. And I'm asking the question, the attorney was like, these are not important to us. I'm like, well, I get that, but do you want, your conversion rates are at 21%. Your hire rate is at 21%. Is it acceptable for you? I know that you just shut marketing down, but your leads are down, but what you're doing today is going to impact 6 months from now. So are you okay if your revenue's down 30% when we're walking into Q2 2024? Does that work? So if you're accepting good enough, mediocre right now, just be really, really clear. If you get like, whew, out of the woods, we're not white knuckling cash flow right now, and you're okay, and we lost a person here or there, but it cut overhead. Like, so we're making decisions based on overhead, not based on our future self, and we're not future pulling and what have you. Just be really clear that if you're accepting mediocre and good enough because we're out of stress and, panic mode right now, your good enough right now is probably going to be cut down by at least 20, 30%. 4, maybe 3, 4, definitely by 6 months from now. And then you're going to find yourself back in this panic mode. So while you have breathing space, like, okay, we're not white knuckling life right now. Let's get deeply curious and use this time to refine what we're looking at in our process, our people, and our production, which impacts profitability. A lot of times law firms, it's just not about profitability, and sometimes it's not all about revenue. Some other law firm owners have an opportunity and have other side hustles and business and wealth from other areas or what have you, and their law firm's a passion project. Get really, really clear on that. Regardless, you want to be continually scaling and growing, controlled growth, and really knowing your numbers, because at some point you want this to be a sellable business, whether to your children or future generations, to your associates. Heck, by the time you get to the place 10, 20, 30 years from now when you're selling your practice, predictions are saying non-attorneys can own law firms. So legal assistants, receptionists, paralegals, when you're doing your time and putting your time and your heart and your sweat into this practice, because I know you are, this could be yours one day. Who knows? Consider the possibilities. Dream. This might be your practice if your attorney doesn't have children or generations that want the practice or what have you. So let's get out of a place where we're good enough And we're going to start treating it like a business. And when we're out of danger zone and panic zone, and are we going to cover payroll zone, now is the time to really start looking at the refinement where we can absolutely positively say why our conversion rates are 21% when the goal is 78%. And we'll know that sitting here now, and we know exactly why it happened. And if we don't know why it happened, then we're going to get deeply curious and figure out, because the solution is there and the answer is there. Just the framework that you're working from might not give you the ability to be able to ask those questions. So what powerful questions are we not asking? What key metrics are we not looking at on the daily? In our daily huddles. And if your attorney's responsible, and this is on their plate, so often I'll hear from team members, well, the attorney does all the reporting. No, we can't change this because the attorney has this formula for it, what have you. I'm like, can we say to the attorney, hey, can we have some fun with this? Is it okay if we start taking this over in Law Firm Admin Bootcamp, whether it's marketing or sales or intake or the process? Is it cool if we have fun with this and let us take this over and work with Law Firm Admin Bootcamp and Molly and start looking at different numbers and come back? Again, gamification, you always hear me talk about this. And so you're not messing with the attorney's metrics. You're not digging in QuickBooks. When we're looking at numbers in QuickBooks, that's after the fact. You can't do much about it. And you've heard me say this once, you've heard me say it a million times. Stop making decisions based on what your bookkeeper tells you or your CFO. Stop making decisions based on what your QuickBooks says. That's after the fact. Do we have enough money? Are we trending to be able to hire the next person? That decision's not coming from QuickBooks. Your bookkeeper doesn't know what the hell is happening on the reception desk or listening to call rail calls that your overseas or your outsourced phone people are doing. And I'm not knocking them. I'm okay with that. But when we don't have the data and the information at the front of the house, in the marketing or what have you, your bookkeeper is just going to tell you what the Excel spreadsheets and what the QuickBooks and that tell you. But they don't know the questions to ask, but your team members do. So have fun with it and get out of a place of, if you guys are sitting comfortable, congratulations. Like, super proud that we're officially a business. We're good for 3 months with cash flow. It's okay, but sometimes we get really too lazy and we lean back. This is a time to lean in and get really curious and say, okay, how can we treat this like a puzzle on Christmas morning where we have the music in the background, the fire roaring and the hot chocolate, and how can we just dump this all out and have fun with this and really start getting to a place of leveling up? Do it now when you're sitting in the place of good enough, when you're sitting in the place of mediocre. And we're like, oh, it's not that bad, or it's going well, or it's okay, or what have you, or we're happy. So this is the time to do it, because when you're in a place of panic, or we're in a place of cash flow troubles, you're not able to make the best next right move and the best decisions. So team members, you hear me talking about this all the time. If your attorney's holding the purse strings on the reporting, on the metrics and what have you, and you know you're answering the phone or you're in the conference room and you're like, something's not right here, or this isn't making sense, step up. Use your voice and say, let us have fun, and can we take a whack at this, and can we start working with this, and just take it like a passion project, and then we'll come back to you and present our findings, and then together we can make a decision on process improvement, KPI improvement, and metric improvement. So kudos if you're sitting in a place of mediocre, good enough, not that bad, we got no stress. That's great. But now let's take it up a notch and get some fire and passion and fun in your law firm. And let's figure out how we are going to move from good to great in 2024. All right, until next time, continue being legal leaders, leading legal leaders. If you do not have legal leaders, or you believe you have legal leaders that are sleeping giants in your law firm, reach out to me. Let's hop on a call with you and your team and figure out who's doing what to reach goal in 2024.
We've reached the end of yet another episode of the Hire and Empower with Molly McGrath podcast, where dream teams of entrepreneurs in an entrepreneur's world really do come true. Listen, whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, or hiring manager, we fully understand hiring, onboarding, and leadership is expensive, exhausting, often overwhelming, and absolutely time-consuming for the already taxed professional. Well, we have your back on all fronts. For 25 years and counting, we have transformed over 4,000 law firm teams into the most efficient, resourceful, and profitable asset of your business. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, and the 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com.